Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa.
Well, hello.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Okay, good.
Hanging in there.
That's what I'm doing. Well, Teresa, partner, it's been something the last few days, you know?
Yeah, I do know.
Yeah. We were
Not sure what you mean, but
we were all excited about our celebration. And we did so much planning for it. And then we just weren't where we anticipated being. And so we had to cancel our celebration. And I don't know about you, but that just sent me somewhere. I had a time just shaking that off, because it just makes you think about, were there missteps? Were there things we could have done differently? And yeah, so I had a bit of a time with that. What about you?
I was quite disappointed, of course, but I didn't go down that path, right?
Really?
And no, because, I think what is meant to be will be. And I don't think it's any reflection on us.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I just tried to
I
remember. Yeah. I just tried to remember though, even with that, it's just like with so much in life, you can plan and anticipate, but things sometimes happen.
right.
And what's important when disappointments come, um, is that what's important is our response to them, and not to beat yourself up over them, but to just realize that life, we like to think that it's all uphill, but it ebbs and flows,
It
and
ebbs and flows.
things happen.
Well,
Yeah.
Lou, the hesitation from me earlier was that I said to myself, do I tell the truth or do I tell what I think the listeners might want to hear?
Tell the truth,
I
sister. But remember,
it
we can
sucks, and
always
I'm
edit, so they only really hear what we want them to hear. Until we
it,
do that blooper reel we keep talking about.
yeah, so it sucked, Lou, and I feel even today really bad. So
Teresa, you
it
gotta let stuff
does.
go. Because
It does.
I think what you see is maybe you making a misstep. I see now that part actually I see as a blessing because we were able to pivot even with canceling. We were able to pivot and fully refund people. So that was important to both of us. And
Mhm.
it didn't, we didn't take too much of a financial hit from it. And it could have been far
Far
worse,
worse.
you know?
Hmm.
So I tend to look at all of this. I agree with you, like whatever will be. But I also tend to try to find the good when something like this happens. And I have to tell you, that was a positive. That was a positive. And I was very thankful for that. And but it also, Teresa, it allowed me a chance because when things happen, because this is our earrings off is our baby, and we're always so intentional about it, but it made me also think about, okay, what maybe might have been different for people. This was the first year that we were going to include men. And
Yeah,
although we are absolutely not against men, love
no,
men, and have
right.
men on our show and everything they bring to Earrings Off and the support, but you and I talked about it. That was a different format. We weren't going to do the keynote speaker this year. We thought we'd try something different. So it allows us an opportunity to go back to the drawing board and think about, okay, in terms of our brand, is this something we want to keep? Do we want to try to modify? So it was a good chance to do that. But the overarching thing I got out of it was that when we get disappointed, and as I said, that's life. If you do anything, if you play it safe, then okay, you're not gonna maybe deal with that because you've already figured out your space, what works all the time. That's not what we're about here at Earrings Off. It's just not. Birthing this podcast was a risk. Speaking every week and putting our material out there and being a creator, particularly for us, Teresa,
Absolutely.
that's a risk. All of it is. So, but again, that's who we are. That's part of our brand, is putting ourselves out there and trying to see and do an assessment, okay, of what worked, maybe what didn't work, and how can we
Yeah.
modify as we move forward. So that I got to that place, but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, it was a bit of a struggle because I was bummed. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is being grateful,
Ah,
continuing to believe in ourselves, focusing on our vision, and
oh yeah.
forgiveness,
Oh yeah.
right? All of that.
All of that.
For
And
me, the forgiveness and
yeah.
forgiving myself.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
No, and because then, when you think about it in the larger scheme, there's a lot going on in the world. There was
Mhm.
so much devastation from Hurricane Helene, and we have so many big things that people are grappling with, that we are grappling with. Even if you weren't faced with personal devastation, we have all been impacted. We see and hear the stories, and you feel for people. I read a story this morning that was just heartbreaking because um, this couple, they lived near Asheville, North Carolina.
Mhm.
But where they lived was pretty remote, and she was a manager of some business, and she was able to go to work, but she and her husband kept talking about, whether she should go, but it seemed like she was going to be okay. They were watching the weather reports, and so she went to work. And she left her husband home with their dog, and she was at work. She and her husband were texting back and forth, and he told her that they were now experiencing at their home quite a bit of flooding, quite a bit.
Okay.
And so she said, "Well, maybe I should come home." He said, "No, you don't try to get here because there's flooding. You're safe. Stay where you are." And they
Right.
were texting back and forth. And then he said something like, "The waters are now in the basement. They're coming upstairs." And he tried to get out with the dog. He got to the car and I guess tried to get to safety. And the mom sent their two sons, sent one son a text to say, "I think dad's in trouble." And so that son contacted his brother, and they tried to make their way to where their parents' home was located. And after many obstacles, roads being destroyed and debris and trees everywhere, their sons were so determined to get to their father. And when they finally got to the area, of course, I mean, there was just devastation everywhere. What has happened, what they shared in the story was that the dog was found like 3 miles from their home. but they have not been able to locate their father. And everything seems to indicate that he did
He
not
was wa
survive the flood.
he was washed away.
Yeah. And so when you think about everything that people are dealing with, the devastation, I spoke with my undergrad roommate today, and I think she was out of electricity for maybe 4 or 5 days. And so when you remember that, I mean, it just pales in
In the scheme of
comparison,
things.
yeah, to
Mm.
what people are dealing with. So certainly our thoughts, our prayers go out to all of the people who have been impacted, and also to all of the first responders who have just worked tirelessly to provide services, to restore, to get to people. Um, Neighbors are doing their very best to take care of each other, and it's just devastating. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, that is such a tragic story, but there's so many others just like that because what I'm hearing is that, I think the loss count is in the hundreds. I can't
yeah,
remember the exact
yeah,
number, but they're expecting it to be at least 1,000.
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's so many people who are unaccounted for in that area.
yeah,
But I'm going
yeah,
to tell you, when I heard the weather report, I haven't heard anyone say that the storm went in a different direction. But when I was focused on it, of course, I was focusing on it having the trajectory of coming over my mom's house
yeah,
right there
yeah.
in central Georgia and then going straight through Atlanta. But the storm went further east, you
Well,
know?
it's interesting you say that because in the report that I just referenced about the couple in North Carolina, that's what the husband was saying. He was watching the news and they did not expect to be hit so directly with that flooding. But I heard one of the meteorologists or climate experts say, you're never safe because if you get rain, you can get flooding. It's just you don't know the impact of it. So it's people do the best they can to project and to anticipate. But like I was talking to my sister, she said something to me, and she was saying that she had all these staple supplies and goods. And I said, really? She said, Lou, you don't have anything? She said, no, you should have water and anticipate something could happen. And she's right because you should have they're always telling you to make sure you have some type of safety kit and a
Yeah,
plan for evacuation should something happen. So again,
right.
it's been a week. People are dealing with a lot. You turn on the news and as if it's not bad enough with the wars everywhere, they seem to be even escalating more. So people we're going through a lot right now. So we are sensitive to that. But getting back to our topic, when things happen, you have to, as my partner rightly mentioned, you have to be grateful, find some of that grace towards yourself in things when things happen, but also to look for the blessings, and not only look for them for yourself, but to ask yourself, how might you be a blessing to others as we
Mm-hmm.
go through what we're dealing with as a nation, not only as a result of Hurricane Helene, but just in our day-to-day activities? How can we be kinder? How can we be mindful in terms of how we speak to each other, how we interact with each other, and how we care for each other during these turbulent times? So that's our hope for you here today at Earrings Off. Again, our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to all of those who have been impacted by the hurricane. And we encourage everyone to do what we can in terms of rebuilding and support. That's our hope here today at Earrings Off. Be well and take good care.